Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Today I wanted to talk to you about the VA process, some of the misperceptions, and if you watch my channel, you probably already get it. You watch other channels, you probably also already get it. This is more of kind of a refresher, kind of just a nice overview. Maybe you might uncover a nugget you might have forgot about. And it also gives you something to refer back to when you meet somebody that you want to share the information with to get them on track. Because the reality is that 70% of the, whatever the number is, 16.5 to 18 million veterans in the U.S., and I think it's closer to the 16.5 mark, of all the veterans in the U.S., only 30% are utilizing the VA for VA disability compensation. That means 70% are not. And if you are receiving VA compensation for your disabilities, you understand that there is a wide pathway into the VA system. Now, obviously, not everybody is going to be a 50, 60, 70, 100%, whatever the number is. There's going to be a lot of people that are 10s and 20s and what have you. But the bottom line is that the number at 30% of veterans utilizing VA compensation is probably way off. In other words, we are way below par with regard to veterans accessing their earned benefit. So I wanted to talk about that and talk about what a successful claim looks like and some key things to prepare as you kind of go through it. And I'm going to just walk through it, just a me and you talking type of situation. So hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. If you're not a member, that is a way to support the channel, and I truly appreciate all you members out there. And it also helps me to find you quicker in the comments so I can respond to you as well. So jumping back into it here, some of, not all, but some of the misperceptions out there when it comes to VA disability cause veterans to have a different attitude about VA disability compensation. And for whatever reason, there's views that it's not an earned benefit, it's more of a handout, and that's not true. There's views on it in the realm of, I don't need it, give it to somebody else. I'm fine. I can walk. I have buddies that can't. Give it to them. Those types of attitudes and ways of thinking can prohibit somebody from moving forward with a claim themselves. And unfortunately, what that does is that hurts everybody else behind you. You need to kind of keep clearing the path, theoretically, so those that come behind us have a path to continue to follow. And funding continues and that type of stuff. So the big thing here that I like to think about is what are, besides the fact of I don't need it, give it to somebody else, is with regard to that aspect is, look, you need to do it so you can help those behind us, right? And then why do people think that they're fine and they don't necessarily need it, give it to somebody else, is because they may have a different sense of what can qualify for VA disability compensation. Oftentimes, somebody who says that does not feel as though they actually have a condition that would warrant a service connection for whatever reason, and therefore, I don't need it, give it to somebody else who does. I don't even want to try to go through the process because I'm just going to get denied anyway. But that's really streamlined into a very quick knee-jerk reaction sort of a response. So when you think about it, you kind of swim upstream a little bit with that mindset, and you go, okay, well, why do we think this way? And why do we think this way is because, one, the word's disability, right? So when you think of disabled, you think of somebody in a wheelchair or crutches, maybe missing a limb. Physical disabilities is primarily what you think of. Now, there has been a lot of headway made with PTSD as being something that could be disabling. So there is that's also kind of in our mindsets now. So it's kind of mental health and physical disabilities, and that's it. That is what VA disability compensation is for, and that's not true. And I'll dive into that in a minute. So what happens is that we end up making a very small piece of pie and go, we don't qualify. So we self-segregate out with this mindset. In addition, what also kind of hammers home points of I don't want to feel like I'm using the system is the idea of a 0 to 100% rating schedule and seeing that 100% is, well, it's 100%. That should be the maximum. So when you think that 100% is the maximum, then what happens is you go, well, I know people that are 100% and they have all their fingers and toes and they can walk or they could ride a motorcycle or they can do whatever. And I will tell you that is a dangerous thing if you don't know the big picture. So you can be rated at 100% and look and be and seem fine. There's a whole other rating schedule for the person that was rolling down the convoy that got hit by an IED and is messed up. There's a whole other rating schedule called special monthly compensation. Now, obviously, that's not the only thing. That's just my example, right? There's a whole other rating schedule, special monthly compensation, that pays out a lot more than what the 0 to 100%. Most veterans qualify for the 0 to 100% rating schedule, and that is it. Then there's another section that is for other situations, worse situations, for veterans, however it happened, that can all link back to being service connected, and that is the special monthly compensation rating schedule. So the moral of that story is 100% is not the maximum. So you need to get out of the mindset of, well, 100%, and I've seen people, and I don't want to be associated with, trying to take, because I feel like that person is, and it's a bunch of assumptions, and we're wrong, because we don't even realize that there's this other schedule of ratings. So now let's go back to types of conditions. The way the VA looks at this is not the same as getting discharged from the military. So for those that are higher ranked or went through med board process or were involved med boarding out a soldier or airman or Marine or what have you, or sailor, that type of stuff, if you are aware of all the different conditions that can get somebody med boarded out of the military, that is a partial list of the VA's compensation ability. So what you can get rated for on the VA side might not necessarily be something that would have gotten you med boarded or even looked at. So the VA's list of conditions is much broader than getting out of the military due to a condition, if that makes sense. So what we're looking at, and I'll give you a couple examples, and I'm going to start it off with this. The VA is looking for a condition that is diagnosable and is chronic in nature or has residual effects. So this includes a whole host of diseases and different ailments. So it's not just injuries. Very important. I don't know. I think I might have a chicken laying an egg. So, I'm 8.5 minutes in. Sorry. Nature calls, I guess. So what we're looking at here is you have a condition that's chronic in nature or has residual effects. This could be things like heartburn. Gastroesophageal reflux disease is bad heartburn, okay? Heartburn is a symptom of GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Migraines, you could have recurrent migraines that happen, frequently. And that is a chronic condition that's diagnosable and you can get rated for it. And sleep apnea, for example, if you have a CPAP, and you could be rated 50% for that. You could be rated 50% for migraines. You could be rated 60% for that bad heartburn, GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Let's say you have insomnia due to a back issue that you have. You can't sleep because you can't get comfortable and you're constantly waking up. Well, guess what? Insomnia is rated on the mental health schedule, and oftentimes I've seen it rated at 30 or 50%. Now, obviously you can be rated higher, but I usually see it in that 30 to 50% range. Could be lower, but as far as kind of an average that I personally have seen, I would say is close to the 30%. So there are a lot of conditions that are not injuries, physical injuries. I lost an arm, I lost a finger, I lost a leg, that type of stuff, that are service connectable. At this point, I encourage everyone to just skim through the VA's rating schedules. If you Google search VA rating schedules, you'll go to the VA's website, of which they'll have a bunch of different categories. They call them books for different things: musculoskeletal, neurological, mental health. You pick one of those, and when you click on it, it's going to open up, another subset of 4 or 5 different links. Pick the link that says Schedule of Ratings under that heading, and then skim through it. Read all the different things that you could possibly be rated for. You could be rated, obviously, for tinnitus, ringing in the ear. You could be rated for motor tics, like a twitch. If you have a uncontrollable twitch, a motor tic, you can be rated for motor tics. So there's a whole host of things, as long, again, as that it is chronic in nature or has some sort of residual effect. In addition, when you go to file your claim, here's my quick tips. Number 1, if you think you're ever going to file a claim, file first an intent to file, ITF. That intent to file buys you 1 year to file your claim. If you don't, it's no harm, no foul. However, if you do file your claim within that 1 year period, the VA preserves the date of your intent to file as your effective date when they decide your claim. So they will back pay you all the way to that intent to file date. Very important, buys time, and it allows you to develop your claim. Get all of your evidence together. Read the schedule of ratings for your conditions. If applicable, take that information with you. Look up DBQ on the VA's website, DBQs, which is Disability Questionnaires, DBQ. Find the one that's for your condition. Take it with you with the corresponding information from the schedule of ratings, and go to your doctor and have them complete that for you. Now you have that all as evidence. If you have a prescription, take a copy of the prescription, get your medical records, file your claim. Now, when you get ready for your CNP exam, make sure you take that information from the schedule of ratings with you to the CNP exam, so you make sure you don't miss anything that you need to be able to recall for your condition. Look, it's not a closed book test. When you show up at your CNP exam, you can bring notes, and that's okay. So the beauty about the rating schedule is it will give you the ratings that are assigned for that specific condition. So if there's 4 different ratings assigned, let's say a 10, a 30, a 50, and a 70, for example, if that is your ratings assigned for that condition, it's going to give you the criteria that needs to be met for each one of those ratings. In other words, what are the signs and symptoms that are needed that would warrant each rating? Obviously, it becomes more strict and more prevalent the higher the rating goes. Whatever one you meet, you need to make sure that you are restating everything that the VA is looking for with regard to that specific rating. Very important. So with that, you will be good to go. The big thing here is the 3 pieces for your successful claim is time and service, gives you your window of opportunity. Number 2 is that diagnosed condition. That diagnosed condition must be chronic in nature or have residual effects. Number 3 is you must have a nexus. You need to show that your condition either manifested during your time in service or is a result of your time in service, and you need to document that in some way. Ideally, you mentioned it, complained about it, got diagnosed for it, or something, at least mentioned it during your time in service, and you have that documentation in which you could supply as evidence. That's ideal. If you don't, it's okay. You can build a bridge back to your time in service. You can do this with buddy statements, having people that you served with, or maybe a spouse, write letters attesting to knowing that you suffered from X while you were in. Maybe you had migraines or GERD and you just self-medicated because that's what people do, right? You went to the grocery store and you bought whatever you bought for your ailment. and nothing got written down, right? Then you would have your current doctor who diagnosed you write a Nexus letter attesting to your condition being at least likely as not to have occurred or manifested during your time in service. That's the minimum threshold the VA is looking for, is a 50-50, a coin flip. So you can have your doctor write at least likely as not, or preferably, in my opinion, it is more than likely that this condition has manifested, or started from veteran so-and-so's time in service. So with that, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.